So today we're going to tear apart this old Delco Rennie alternator. We're going to see what's wrong with it, if it's repairable or not. I have no use for it, so I'm just doing this for fun. I found it for free at the dump. It's a big one, as you can see. It's not off your typical car. This is probably off a tractor. Be my best guess, especially in this area. So let's do some ripping and tearing and see what happens. For today's project, I'm going to be using my Ryobi 1 Plus impact wrench 1/2-inch driver. I've had this for almost a month now, so it's fairly new to me. I know some people say it's not for industrial purposes, more for your at-home use. I work as an agriculture heavy-duty mechanic, and I've been using this for a month now in the shop. You can see it is a bit beat up already. I put some good scrapes and scratches in her. She gets dropped a little bit and abused, and so far so good. She can crack the back wheel off a combine, and it has been a game changer for me as far as saving time. I don't have to hook up an air line to my old air impact. I don't have to worry about the dust using it in the combine. It just has been a game changer. I could be a little smaller, but I wouldn't mind buying their smaller impact driver as well, because of the Ryobi 1 Plus, all the batteries fit, and Ryobi is known for having their batteries fit all throughout the 18-volt line. No matter 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, the batteries will fit. So I'm excited about this. I'm going to test it out on our old alternator here. The first thing I'm going to do is pull off this pulley. It's a 24 millimeter or 15/16 nut on the bolt there. There is a hex in the shaft here, so you can put a Allen key in there and then use a special socket to take it off. Most times, if you use an impact, hold on to the pulley with gloves, you're okay. Now, I do not have my impact driver here, or my impact socket here for 15/16 at home. I'd have to go to work and get my impact one. I'm going to cheat, use my chrome. Not safe, don't do it. But no matter which one you're using, always wear safety glasses. I've been at the hospital before getting metal dug out of my eye. Most unpleasant thing you will ever have happen. So wear safety glasses, and don't be a dumbass. Use a proper impact socket. Don't do it like I'm doing. Okay, so this should be about the only test for this. Will be this big nut. All the other small nuts on here should be easy for this thing to crack loose. It'll be too much, so I'll have to use a 1/4-inch driver. But let's see if it cracks this loose. Nothing to her. Well, that was easy. Just got a few little screws here to take off. Okay, we'll grab a couple more tools and we'll take apart the rest of this. Yeah. But as you can see, the one nut I thought might be a little problem, the Ryobi 1 Plus didn't even bulk. It just nothing to it. It's been one of the greatest tools I ever bought. Like I said, use a proper impact socket. Do as I say, not as I do. Now I got a bunch of these smaller bolts to get out. Probably a little, maybe 1/4-inch or something. 5/16 heads on them. Similar over here. And to get those out, I don't really want to use the 1 Plus because it'll probably snap them off. They're tight with the 1/2-inch impact, that is. So I'm going to try the old, well, not old, it's new to me, Dewalt 12-volt. I wonder why I bought a 12-volt when there's bigger ones available. Well, I hit a 12-volt before, old style, Dewalt. This one was on sale when the clutch on my other one went, so I bought this one, and half the weight and same amount of power as the old 12-volt. Been awesome. So let's see how it does cracking these nuts loose. I just have a little 1/4-inch drive in there. This is not the impact driver, this is the drill driver. So the 1/4-inch impact driver will probably be my next purchase. Whether I probably will go Ryobi, just because the more tools, one brand you have, it's easier, and I like the 18 volt rather than the 12. But we'll see. Running on a shoestring here, right? Let's try this out, see if it'll break these bolts loose. If it doesn't, I'll use my ratchet, but hopefully this will break them loose. Nope, not quite enough. Okay, I just realized I was in first gear, or second gear, not first gear. Let's try it in second gear and let's just see. Okay, it will snap them loose. I just was in the wrong gear. Oh, no problem at all. These new tools with the LED lights, that is the cat's ass. Works awesome. Wow, this is great. Alrighty, now we have the cover off. What do we have in here? There's our rectifier. Alrighty. Well, this isn't a rebuild, this is just a teardown. But I will show you what's inside an alternator like this. Okay, so I got the cover off. The drill worked good once I put it into first gear, not second. Popped all the bolts off with it, no problem. They're just little 1/4-inch bolts. As you can see here, 5/16 head, popped off no problem. So here you have your voltage rectifier, which is basically taking your alternating current from the alternator and turning it into direct current for your 12 volt system. You have your little capacitor here. It's like a little battery that stores energy. And if you're ever working with anything electrical, if you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it, because a little capacitor like that, something like that, can hold enough amperage and voltage to give you a good shock. There's much bigger ones too. Here's an example from a microwave. One like this would easily kill you without any problem. They're very dangerous. They're awesome. They're like a battery. They store power and release it, but they release it very quickly. Awesome things. They can be recharged many times. But you have a little tiny one in here in your alternator. Up here, I'm not all sure what all this is, honestly. I am a mechanic, but to tell you the truth, nowadays we send alternators off. The shop rate's too high to rebuild them. It's easier to send off the core and get a rebuilt one, and it's way cheaper for the customer. So we don't get to play with these much. So this is a learning for me too. If you know a lot more about alternators than I do, please make a comment and educate us all. This is what it's all about. I'm just tearing this apart for the fun of it, see what I can get out of copper, but let's learn along the way. So I got this all torn apart here. Let's see here. So this is almost like a switch here or something, but you can tell either way somebody's been in here, because that is not a factory wire. That's just clip-on, clamp-on butt connectors. They work. I don't like them. I prefer to solder when I do my wiring, but somebody's been in this alternator before. As you can see, all the other connectors have a much nicer finish. They've been shrink tubed and soldered rather than just crimped on butt connectors. So here's our parts to our alternator. Here you got your copper core. That's kind of what I was after, as well as the copper windings. So this goes into there, gets charged up, creates your magnetic field, and then when it's spinning inside your windings, that's when you're going to get your current, creating your alternator current and your charge. Like I say, I wasn't out to rebuild this one so much, just out to get the copper out of it. I found it at the dump. It's a cheap way to get some copper and take it in for money. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a rebuild, just a tear down. So, quick video on tearing down a big alternator. Might be bigger than some of the ones you've seen before. If you happen to need parts off one of these, leave a comment, and we'll see what we can do.